Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Gannibal Season 2, Episode 2. Great episode. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So I wasn't expecting, the opening to be where it is, because obviously it's, the Gato family running, just showing up. It's during, it's kind of like the openings of, or a continuation of the festival, and it's just I guess a more official thing of Munchika's grandfather, passing the torch to him, and even that line from him being like, "Oh, Gen, I did it," kind of like right before I passed on, because he's like, "Oh, I can't wait I'm sick, but I can't wait to go to heaven," and stuff like that. But it's like, yes, I've officially passed on the torch, and now this ritual and festival is going to continue. But I think what's home dude's name? Strong Dude, like the really crazy strong dude that beat up Daigo episode, not last episode, but last season. He's like crazy strong. I think it's like Iwao. I don't know if you pronounce that Iwa. I'm gonna just pronounce it like that because you might not. The O might be silent. I don't know. Either way, he's the one that took notice of why isn't Keisuke here? What's up with that? What could he be up to? And we see that Keisuke was meeting with Sumire, and she's like happy to see him, but he's like, right, abort the baby and never come near me again. But you know where Keisuke is coming from. He knows what this Gato family situation is, and even though he is the head of the family, he kind of took a lot of that responsibility because, as we know, he basically sacrificed himself to save his mom. And yes, he understands where Yosuke's coming from, but it's a thing of, no, I need you to stop doing that because any former traitor amongst the Gato family will get killed. And he's looking after his little brother, trying to make sure, you're here, but I'm trying to minimize what could happen to you. He's trying to, he has no choice but to keep things going, but he's also trying to protect everyone because he's like, if Sumire gets rid of the baby, then, she won't get dragged into this. Don't let the Gato family find out about this. And she's like, if you want me to, I could get rid of the baby right now. She's like, if that's what you want, whatever satisfies you. She's just like, we can just run away. You, me, and the baby, we could just go. And Keisuke's just like, you just have to leave. He's like, but before he could even really say what would be next, the Gato family shows up because Sabu saw her last episode and immediately let the Gatos know. So now it's a situation of, okay, so they've been following her ever since, and now they overheard everything. They even got it on recording. So it's like, oh, what's this all about? Oh, what's this about an abortion? This is the next head of the family. You wouldn't do something crazy like that. He's like, yeah, me and Sumire will get married. It's like, yeah, we have a complicated relationship because don't forget, she's Kano's daughter after everything between the Gato family and Kano, but it's like, yeah, we'll get married. And so Mary just kind of has to nod and accept it. It's just like, oh, very unfortunate situation. But what was it? I think the big guy's name is Makoto and Iwa are very suspicious of Keisuke because they don't believe, because he's been moving weird in their opinion. So they're like, yeah, there's something off here. But before things could even really keep going, the cops, Kanemaru leads the cops as they infiltrate, and they're counting. It's like, oh, we need to count to make sure all the guns you have registered are the amount of guns here at this place. And it is interesting because I'm like, because it's like they definitely don't. Because the sad thing is Daigo doesn't know, and I'm sure they don't know either, that Yuki and Mashiro were taken last night. So, and I figured as much because was it Samado? He immediately pisses off, so I was like, yeah, he's definitely going to move Yuki and Mashiro while the cops are investigating. But what I love about Kanemaru is just how smug and just kind of ha ha ha, and they're laughing in their faces. He is like, oh yeah, we're gonna do all of this, and they're like, you kind of have no right. It's interesting too because at the same time we're learning. Well, Sumire hears from that lady from the Gato family saying a long time ago, there was a war between the Gato family and Kuge village. And she's like, yeah, the Gato family will continue. As long as there's anyone left in the bloodline, it will continue on past the future till eternity. That they always fight and they keep going. And that fight in their blood kind of lets, the dominoes fall the way they do because, Makoto's tired of just being on the sidelines. He's like, we can't just let the cops come in here and do whatever they want to. I'm like, isn't that more trouble than it's worth? I mean, you go around, ultimately things play out the way they are, but I'm like, you draw so much more attention to yourself when you have cops showing, being dead. You're going to get the entire government up your ass. But it's like, they don't care. It's like, this is our way of living and we are going to fight for it. It's too important to us to let anyone stand in our way, cops or not. Like, I think it's very short-sighted, but, you know, in their minds, they probably look at themselves. It's like, we're a lineage of warriors. This has been our thing. We fought back against any and everyone that's ever come our way, so we don't have to worry about it. But it's still like, man, you're asking for trouble. I mean, you're asking for like the Japanese military to like roll through on you, but they've just never had a reason to up until now, because I mean, a little here, a little there, but like literally mowing down the amount of cops they did this episode is insane. But the question is, like, I mean, well, we saw the beginning of episode 1, and that was like, you know, once again, that was like a in media res situation. So like some heavy duty people are on their way, so the call does get through, because I was about to say, not unless you kill them before their backup gets there or before they got word out needing backup. But some cops did kind of call for reinforcements. Like one in particular was like, oh, calling in a 138. So I don't know if that was just like, oh, get more cops here, or just whatever that code may be. But yeah, there was like I said, the guy Makoto, who does not like trust Keisuke. He's like, I know you're hiding something, and the fact is, Keisuke is like, we should just let the cops do what they're doing. And because for his perspective, it's like, I want to protect the Gato family, because regardless, I think he's in a tough spot because he doesn't agree with what things are, but he accepts them as they are. And it's like, well, we got to keep this going, because this is the gig I signed up for. It's kind of passed on to me, but if I can at least do this gig and mitigate at least some of this, you know, try to like keep some equilibrium where things kind of keep going while also handicapping it at the same time. He wants to like, yeah, I don't like, you are my family, regardless of how complicated you are, how I am a little different from the rest of my family. You're still my family, and I want to try and make sure no one gets hurt, because he's like, yeah, I don't want more Gatos to get killed. But Makoto's like, no, we need to fight. We can't, you've always been too soft. This needs a heavy hand type of situation. So Kanemaru, like I said, is investigating. They're counting up the guns. I love when he's got the cigarette and he finds that area. I'm assuming that area he found is definitely where they were most likely hiding. Well, no, because Iwa didn't even know about that. He didn't know about Yuki and Mashiro till later. But it's like, oh, I don't like. They must have been hiding something there. Well, because they did say later on. Well, I don't think the kids were moved to the village. They were moved to like, what was it, Jin's shop or whatever. But I don't think they were ever in the village. They went from like where they were caged up to Jin's shop. Because I was wondering like why he didn't appreciate Kanemaru finding that place. But he's like, yeah, this is where, yeah, in the past, this is where we tortured people and stuff. And he's like, yeah, we look back on our past and we're frowned upon it. And Kanemaru's like, oh, like a very, very long time ago it was used, right? He's like, yeah, it smells like feces and urine in here. Fresh feces and urine. He's like, I'm just messing with you guys. He's like, oh, why you guys looking a little nervous and stuff like that? But that's what makes Kanemaru go, something's not right. These guys are here, they're just buying time, they're stalling. He's like, where's that other cop? Because he's like, Daigo was always first to charge in. Why is it that out of any cop, he's the one that's absent? So it's like he's up to something, and they're like, he's most likely looking for the kids. So they end up like trying to leave, but Kanemaru and the others blocked away, and Makoto sets off the first shot. I mean, I think this episode's title was literally called War, which is so interesting because obviously it's very much like a World War I thing. The bullet heard across the world. And it's just like, yeah, that one single shot, even though no one got shot, it's like, he's like, we don't have to do this. And it's like, you're going to start a war. And Makoto's like, it's already started, Keisuke. And lo and behold, that man came down and slaughtered a cop. And it's like, yep, things pop off, guns firing. He's just straight up slaughtering people. So it is a bloodfest. Bullets flying everywhere. Like some of the camera work in this episode was insane. Once again, I'm not the biggest like cinematography nerd, but you got it. Like that moment, like Keisuke's like running and the camera's like right in front of him. Oh my. Oh, and there's that one cop who's like shooting someone, but he gets shot, and it's like first person from inside of like his helmet, and he turns and then gets shot. I was like, oh, the camera work in this is insane. Because Keisuke was just like dumbfounded. bullets flying, so much death and destruction. And it's just like he wanted to avoid something like this. You know, not just for his family's sake, because he knows this is going to bring more trouble, but that bringing more trouble is just going to lead to more death. He wanted to prevent as much of this. He tried to rein the situation in as much as possible, but for him, it's just kind of like, crap, Sumire. So he runs to her. And I think it's interesting. He came across like those other like family members. They're like, oh, Kensuke, and he's just kind of like, crap, Sumeri's not here, and moves on. And as he's about to leave with Sumeri, try to get her to safety, who does he run into? None other than his dad. His dad's like, sorry, but Sumeri, that baby's got to die. And he's like, as long as I can end the bloodline, it'll be fine, you know? And he tries to kill her, and obviously poetically, like, while Kensuke ends up tackling him, one of the shots goes off and hits the photo of Gen. And it's like he even said it himself. It's like, even though Keisuke and Yosuke grew up like his children, they're not biologically his children, so he has no blood ties to the Goto family in that capacity. So for him, it's like, or at least them, because because he actually is Gen's son, isn't he? I actually don't remember. Yeah. He actually is Gen's son, or is he from? I don't. Yeah, he has to be part of Gen's family. He has to be her son. I'm once again, that's my fault for not remembering. But either way, it's like specifically not sharing any blood with Yosuke and Keisuke. And for him, he reveals that he's like, because like Sumeri stops Yosuke. It's like, Keisuke, and she's like, that's your dad. He's like, no, I'm not. We don't share any blood. He's like, your father is that man. But then Keisuke is like, I've already known that. You're not telling me something I don't already know. Get your act together. It's like doing what you're doing, trying to stop. Like, it's like you're acting like you're dropping some big revelation on me, and you're trying to act like you've played your role in all of this too. You've been on the sidelines. Yes, you've tried to help too, but Keisuke is also helping, because we learned that the person who told Munchika where the children are to tell Daigo is Keisuke, which even Daigo is like, Keisuke did, huh? And it makes him kind of reevaluate, because he thought he knew who Keisuke was, and be like, wow, he's about trying to do the right thing. Because I think he's seen those moments, even in their interactions and stuff, but it's still the thing of, it's like he's loyal to the Goto family, not by choice. He's kind of, this whole thing was like put upon him, and he kind of, once again, trying to make the best of the situation as he can. So, but Daigo has a little backup as they bust in and arrest, Sabu and the others and the cops. I guess they just lucked out, because Kaneko showing up the way she did. I was like, oh, interesting. And it's like, oh, funny enough, like the children are there at the same time, so that's extra reason to be like, all right, try to get Kaneko out of here. But the cops bust in and save the day, while at the same time, like those in the village are massively slaughtered. There are quite a few Gatos that died, but I don't think it's a large clan, but also I think way more cops died. And obviously the last one standing after it all is Kanemaru. And it was an Iwa crushes his hand, because he's like, oh, don't worry, we found the children, it's good and all that. But Sadamu ends up leading the charge with another group going after them. And Sadamu's like, oh, we're going to kill everyone here, including the children. We don't need any survivors. Even those we're going to be a part of the ritual. We don't even need them, because they have Mashiro. She's a contingency. Not like they 100% planned that, but it was as they were saying, it was also, I think Makoto said it himself, where it's just this is the way to basically make Daigo pay. Once again, he's doing all this completely unaware that Yuki and Mashiro are taken. We find out where they were, though. They were hidden underneath the floorboards. You're like, damn. You're supposed to check everywhere, but literally someone was laying on top of the spot where they were on purpose. You're like, shit. So, but yeah. But anyway, Kaneko gets reunited with her child, because she knows what Gin told her, yeah, my child was stillborn, but she's like, I know this is bullshit. And now she's finding out, she's looking at him, it's like, hey, and it's just like keeping herself from fully breaking down. And then some of the other people are like, that child there, yeah, that's mine. This child is mine. And that one's Kaneko's. And then just Daigo's like disgusted because he's like, how could you do this to your own children? And then Sabu's trying to explain, like, this is how things work. You're the one coming here interrupting our peace. Because there's like an equilibrium with this whole thing that happens where it's just kind of like, this is how things have worked in Kuge Village for centuries. And it's also this situation of, we've accepted this as the reality because trying to change it would just, we've all got this collective like suffering. So there's an equilibrium of like, no one is exempt from it. We all kind of go through it. So it's just kind of the accepted reality of we go through this pain. It's kind of how this whole thing operates. So obviously you're not in any shape or form justifying his perspective on it, but it's just a situation of just like, that's his perspective, and that's where a lot of the villagers had that perspective on it. But it's like, yeah, you're doing that to your own daughter and your own grandchild, but it's like, yeah, everyone has to pay the price. That's how we keep the peace. This is how we keep everything, like I said, an equal footing where, you know, no one's just suffering alone, because we all kind of have to suffer. We are all joined in our suffering in that regard, and that kind of brings us together. But it's sick and disgusting in that capacity. Sabu immediately catches a bullet to the head. At first I was like, did Kaneko do that? But it's like, nope. Sadamu and his people showed up and did that. You're like, oh boy. Some of the cops that were there got killed. Poor guy that was eating the noodles, he was just so like, seeing Sabu's body, he immediately starts throwing up. I mean, once again, these aren't the Gatos, these are just Kuge villagers, so they are kind of a different breed from the Gatos. But yeah. But we also have in the distance Yosuke's nearby, and obviously he's kind of changed his tune about it, his perspective on it. So him and his brother kind of are trying to do the right thing. So Yosuke's probably going to help maybe pick off some people from a distance. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see how that shakes up and plays out. But Daigo's down to his last bullet. One dude busted in there, and he's got to protect that head officer as well as like Kaneko and the children, because once again, they're all dead. So yeah, one bullet, Daigo rushes out. You're like, well, I'd assume Daigo got the shot off. But like I said, because the firing stopped on the outside, so I don't know if like Yosuke did his side of things and that's why that happened, or what. But yeah, the episode ends with the Gato family grabbing up Mashiro and, you know, taking her. So we'll see how this plays out, how long before Daigo finds out about this whole situation. So I'm also curious to see what happened to, like, last time you see that man, he's there eating, but like I guess after that slaughter and feasting, he just kind of pissed off. So we'll have to wait to see where the next episode ends up taking us going forward with all of this. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.